little girl, I went to see, when they reissued it, the movie The Wizard of Oz. And there were similarities that appeared to me. You know, lots of sound and fury, even a fog machine. But when you pulled back the curtain, it was just Donald Trump with nothing to offer to the American people.
That was, of course, Hillary Clinton speaking about the Republican National Convention here in Cleveland. She was today in North Las Vegas at an event. Here with us now in Cleveland is a multitasker, the Democratic National Chair, Congresswoman Debbie Wasserman Schultz, here in Cleveland to talk about Republicans and planning, with her other hand, your convention, which starts on Monday in Philadelphia.
Yes.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Tell me about Tom Vilsack. What do you think of him?
Tom Vilsack was a really wonderful governor of the state of Iowa and has been doing a fantastic job as our Secretary of Agriculture. And I think he's
is he a liberal, conservative, moderate? What is he?
I would say that he's a center-left, moderate public servant that, it would be center-left if I was going to place him somewhere.
Tell me about Tim Kaine.
Tim Kaine also did a fantastic job as governor of Virginia, was my predecessor at the DNC, is now a United States senator, has a lot of experience really in terms of foreign policy, lived abroad, is fluent in Spanish.
If either of them were picked as Hillary Clinton's running mate, how would your delegates and your party members from around the country react?
Well, and I think anyone that has been talked about on the short list that Secretary Clinton is reviewing would make excellent vice presidential candidates and would bring different assets to the ticket.
Right. There's no doubt, I'll ask the question. Do you have any doubt in your mind that the selection of Elizabeth Warren would generate more excitement among rank-and-file Democrats than the selection of either of those other two guys?
I think that there are different assets that each person being considered would bring, and yes, Elizabeth Warren would bring excitement, but there are other potential candidates that would bring a different kind of excitement depending on who you're trying to draw from.
So putting people on the ticket often is a way to address various kind of political challenges, political problems you have, right? Did you think that that Hillary Clinton, does she have an enthusiasm issue? Does she need to get rank-and-file Democrats excited, or are they excited enough for her to win?
No, I think that Hillary Clinton on her own is going to be able to really excite our base. We have an opportunity to make history by electing the first woman candidate for president from any major party being nominated in American history. And beyond that, she's the most respected and admired woman in the world, the most prepared candidate, and she is really, I think you'll see next week, going to generate a tremendous amount of enthusiasm and has been all over the country.
So just why is it, given all the things you just said about her, and given all the horrible things you believe about Donald Trump, why is this race even close?
Well, because, first of all, it's July. And so I know that all of you in the media really obsess about national polls.
And battleground polls.
Yeah, but
they're basically within the margin of error everywhere.
In July, polls don't mean a whole lot. What does mean a whole lot is your ground game and the ramp up to the ground game, in which the Republicans are very publicly, admittedly, far behind us. Donald Trump has no staff here, to speak of in Ohio. Very paltry staff in Florida. We are out organizing and out mobilizing them, and that is going to make a huge difference when it comes to the home stretch.
A big controversy last night, Melania Trump. Normally, when there's a big controversy involving Donald Trump and the Republicans, your party would jump all over it. The Clinton campaign would jump all over it. There's been virtually no reaction to their controversy. Why is that?
Melania Trump gave a very nice speech and comported herself well from the podium and presented herself very nicely to the American people. And, it's up to the Trump campaign to defend the content of that speech.
Well, but again, you'd normally jump over any time they had some weakness or some problem. Is it because you think spouses are off limits?
I think it's because this is a story that really is between the Trump organization and people who hold them accountable, and they certainly have had a full day of needing to answer questions.
In Donald Trump's speech, there were lines that were lifted from a speech from President Kennedy. Would you all just leave that alone and say it's between Donald?
Of course not. Clearly, there's a huge difference between the person who has their name on the ballot and their spouse. But this is definitely a concern, and the Trump organization has to answer for it. They have not done a very good job answering for it all day long, and we think it speaks for itself.